I'm going to hit record here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our latest podcast. I say our because it's me, Jamie, and my beautiful sister, Sheena. Hey, Sheena.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So I want to just kind of give everybody just a heads up as to what this podcast is going to be about. We're titling it Social Media as Medicine. And the idea for this podcast came about when I was inspired by something Sheena said. She said that social media can be medicine. Right then and there, that kind of blew my mind a little bit because I realized I needed to release some paradigms around my engagement with social media to transform it into medicine. And also, you said something about your posts being a surrender experiment. Do you want to, can you share a little bit about what that means?
Yes, absolutely. So for me, I get a lot of downloads throughout the course of my day. And sometimes these downloads have been feeling like they're prayers to be shared. So my surrender is kind of just allowing whatever is kind of flowing through me to kind of come out and share it as a prayer, as medicine. So that I've been surrendering in my outside of media quite a bit, but just sort of allowing this intuitive guidance to sort of flow into wherever I am or whatever I'm doing. And on media, that's been using my voice as prayers quite a bit of just surrendering to the here and now, what I think the message feels relative to the moment, and sharing that. So that surrender on media is in direct relationship to the surrender that I've had outside of media, of just allowing that inner guidance system to show up and be what it needs to be in the moment and share it.
That is so beautiful. Gosh, there's a reason why she's one of the most inspiring people I have ever met in my life.
Ditto.
So one of the things I want to be just very aware of is creating and aligning and attuning process so that our fields are really zipped up, so that every listener's field is zipped up. Because we're going to be talking about the opposite side of the coin, that social media has been perceived almost as a quote unquote sickness. And so we just want to speak a lot of that into sacred space to dismantle those belief systems for those of us who want to dismantle them, so that we can really release and step into a vibration of alignment when it comes to sharing our messages, sharing our love, sharing our prayers, and everything that's in that vibration via this social media model. So let's align and attune, let's zip our fields up so that anything coming forth from our personal testimonies, our stories, that you receive that for the best and highest good, but that it doesn't come into your field, because we're all angelically receptive. We're really walking this walk and talking this talk. And as you and I joke, the more sensitive we get, the more sensitive we are. Right? So the more that we're aware of our lunar cyclical wisdom, the more that we're aware of Mother Earth's body is our body, the levels and layers of consciousness, the liminal realms that can be known but not seen, or not seen in a typical physical third dimensional way. The more that we become sensitive to those things, the more that I think we become sensitive to energies around us. So we're just going to do some energetic housekeeping and create a little bit of a steadfast, I would say, boundary of golden light for all of us. So let's go ahead and breathe into our heart center. Feel that beautiful heart chakra just pulsating in your chest, giving and receiving love. Now, on your next exhale, bring that heart-centered energy up to your ajna, the beautiful amethyst, again, pulsating in rhythm with your human heartbeat. And what this does is this creates a cosmic merger of our unconditionally loving emerald ray with our unconditionally knowing indigo ray. So if you are a visual person, and for those of us that are indigo star seeds, we are visual. Go ahead and just imagine that beautiful merger of an emerald ray of light dancing and spiraling with an indigo ray of light. And now we're going to go ahead on our next exhale, maintaining the connection from heart to ajna. We're going to go up through the crown and connect to our soul light, our higher self, whatever feels in alignment for you, whatever verbiage you want to use. Here we connect with that diamond white light. So again, for those of us who really love visual cues, imagine this double helix spiral of the emerald indigo ray merger becoming a triple helix spiral, adding in a ray of platinum white light. So create that divine braid, connecting body, mind, and spirit. Take another deep breath in. And on this exhale, just set the intention, give it attention, firework your awareness out in every direction and connect into your source self. And here is where that law of one comes online, our knowing of oneness. For your source self is my source self. Sheena's source self is your source self. We connect into that source energy, bringing that into the chalice. We also connect into the center energy, whatever that is for you. I like to think of the center of Mother Earth, that diamond crystal core of her great warm womb. I like to imagine floating in that nice, dark amniotic fluid, that sanctuary. And we're going to bring that center self, which again is a vibration of oneness. For my center self is your center self. We're going to bring that center self wisdom up into the chalice, having source and center meet at the heart. And here we are aligned and attuned, right? We've taken the physical body with intention and attention. We have attuned it to a higher spiritual vibration, meaning lighter, not as dense as the 3D. There's no hierarchy here of good to bad or better or worse. We're just of a lighter density now, a lighter vibration. And we've allowed the pure spiritual energy of source and center into the chalice. So we've aligned and attuned and allowed. And this is a practice based in Alice Bailey's model, the esoteric healing modality. And just as a final piece, what we're going to do is we're going to set the intentions for the greatest and highest good to come forward. This is where you can go around with your beautiful wand of golden light and just zip up any places in your auric field that you think might need a little bit of extra insulation, extra attention. And as we bring forth this intention for the greatest and highest good to come forward, that's our cosmic divine awareness coming online. We're going to blend it with our human being, and we're going to ask for the greatest and highest choice to come forward. Feels really juicy. And what we're going to do is we're going to feel this being birthed into being within our own form. And we're also going to visualize it going out and touching every living thing throughout all time and all space. Namaste. Okay.
Namaste. And that is media as medicine.
That is media as medicine. Okay, so we've got our fields protected. So now we can really we can get down to business and we can talk about this. As we were preparing to hit record, we were talking about social media as a sickness. And I think we just need to kind of speak it into this sacred space, that there are so many negative narratives out there about social media. What do you notice? What feels pertinent to share right now?
Just the competitiveness. There's so many people just competing for whether it's likes and followers and shares, or it's just competing to fit a stereotype that we see out there. So the competition, I think, is a really big one. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and then that can spread like wildfire. So those are the two biggest ones that I think, and I feel lucky that my relationship with social media has gone through some reprogramming in the last couple of years. So those are the ones that I still feel like that's what I was doing the most, but I do feel some separation from it now, which is great. But I would say the biggest one is not seeing authentic beauty, a lot of superficiality. And then trying to, trying to share your voice in a crowd of superficiality, which you might start to subconsciously change your narrative or change the way you deliver a message because you're trying to maybe compete with some of the other things that you see out there
And conform.
and conform. Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything that you said. And I have recognized that within myself too, with my journey with social media, the comparison, competition paradigms that we fall into. The other thing too, that I think is important for us to talk about is that there is such a double bind, and that is a psychological term, meaning there's no right answer,
Yeah.
right? There's no right way to do it.
Yeah.
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way, but that is a really, I would say, pervasive sort of narrative about social media, in the sense that if you are on it as an influencer for your business, for whatever, the idea is that you need to be on it all the time. You need to be consistently engaging, consistently reaching out and trying to build this following. And yet we're also supposed to pretend like we're not on it.
Totally.
Right? We're supposed to pretend like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't do a thing and my engagement just is off the charts and I've got all these followers. And yet I have my social media sort of rules of engagement. And it's just, that to me is so confusing to our psyches. It's so challenging to navigate through, because the bottom line is, and I think many social media influencers, if they're going to be honest, will tell you this: you've got to be on it a lot. You've got to engage. And that's why it's created the way it is. It wants you to engage with it to get more engagement. So I think the first step is let's just come out of the closet. Let's say, hey, we're working in these realms, and it's okay to say, I want to be noticed for it. I want my stuff to be able to get to the right hearts.
Yeah, I want to be able to reach people and not need an entire media team to do that, or feel like I have to dedicate several hours a day to keeping up with the Joneses on social media.
Or to feel like we've failed in some way, shape, or form if we didn't just hit post and it's magically a success. To feel like it's okay, how we're engaging with it is okay. And that we've got to trust our own intuition, our own wisdom when it comes to the way that we interact with social media. Now, we're going to get into a little bit more, though, the authenticity piece of, we've really got to, I'm going to scoot my chair back just a tad. We've really got to be very aware, I think, and clear with ourselves about why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
So you want to hit that one first?
Sure. Yeah. I think we have to be, like you said, really intentional about what we're doing and how we're doing it, because there's so much noise out there that you're competing with. I mean, attention is intention, it's focused attention. So when we are giving someone our time and our presence and our attention, we are programming them. Just like we are receiving the program. So it's so important to really be so intentional, whether you're lighting a candle before your post, or you're saying a prayer, or you're just really intentional with the message that you want to deliver. It's potent medicine because it's a program. And if we are not authentic in sharing that, we can subconsciously be, like you did this beautiful attunement, maybe sharing from something that isn't healed yet, that yes, it's still going to go out as medicine, but maybe it's not the most nourishing medicine at that point. Maybe it's going to have somebody work through some stuff. So there's a beautiful, there's beauty in authenticity, and there's also beauty and privacy as well.
Well said. Well, hearing you say that, it brings some stuff up for me. I had said for years that I had a love-hate, which was really honestly a hate-hate relationship with social media. I felt like it was this necessary evil that I had to do, utilizing the free advertising aspect of it, while also harboring this side of me that felt so disappointed that I wasn't getting the engagement that I really so desperately wanted. And so I kind of had this aha moment that managing that disappointment was a trauma trigger for me. And as a symptom of that trauma trigger, what I did is I created rigidity and rules for myself as to how I was going to engage. I was that person. I was saying like, I'll only post and I'll respond to people if they comment on my posts. Like I really had this sort of internal dialogue going on with myself about my level of engagement and how I was showing up on social media. And so it got me what it got me. However, it also perpetuated this trauma narrative of isolation because I was feeling isolated. I was putting the energy out there that this was a have to, not a get to. I was very aware of my hate relationship where I wasn't feeling validated. I wasn't feeling like I was validating. I was sitting in a vibration of expectation. And I was allowing that to all keep me imprisoned in the illusion of isolation and separation even more when what I so desperately wanted was community. That's what I was starving for, like praying for, desiring so deeply is I wanted the engagement because I wanted to feel that cohesive sense of community. That's so important. So I had to rethink everything. I had to let a lot of shit go, which we're going to talk more about that. And I had to really put myself out there. I had to start saying, okay, I'm going to show up in the way that I want to be shown up for. And I'm diligent about that now. I feel like, do I do it perfectly all the time? No, not at all. But I'm always able to kind of lasso myself back to that core version of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm doing what I'm doing because my mission for this life is to be of service. And the ways that I'm of service are my divine offerings. And I send them out with so much love and light and connection. So that's kind of where I got my big sort of awareness piece around, it's time to transform.
Yeah.
And you have a pretty specific story too of realization.
Yeah. And it shares so much of that same thread. Is I had used Instagram for about probably 10 years. Facebook and Instagram were pretty old accounts. And I had my account stolen by a hacker. So I had somebody come in that wanted to, try to lure my followers and pretend that it was me and ask them for money. And in all of that relationship, I found similarly that I was going on to social media for a community and not getting that community and feeling a little bit more isolated. So that experience of having my Instagram hacked and essentially stolen from me had me start all over again. I lost the account. I lost the followers. I lost the I lost all the engagement that I had for 10 years with that account. So that was the whole identity that I lost. And in building up a new one, what I knew in my heart that I wanted was what I had just learned that I needed was a real living community. And so as what I decided to do is I never brought back my personal account. I only brought back my business account, and it was a village, and it's an online village. It's an online community. It's a sisterhood mostly, but it's inclusive, but it's sharing messages of people that have beautiful messages to share that need voices and platforms to hear them. So in having all of my account wiped away, slate clean, was when I could see I'm looking for a connection and I'm trying to go on social media to get it. And then I'm creating those feelings of isolation. And when I went deep into my shadow work journey, is that I could say, let me look at all of my behaviors and why I do the things that I do. And in that was a huge confronting conversation about media for me. What am I getting from media? What am I giving to media? And so that has completely just alchemized my relationship as using media as medicine. I have prayers out there that it's just me ecstatically dancing, that's all it is. And I just send it out. And then I have others that is just a prayer or just working with crystals or oracle reading for the collective or whatever. And it's, for me, it's no longer about trying to get as many likes and as many things shared and posts and all the things. It's really just about honoring, this is my devotional practice, and I'm just going to give you all a look at to what it looks like. And I'm going to share that. And I know in my authenticity that what is coming through is what I'm hoping is coming through is going to be medicine for someone, because it's done in a really pure, honest place. It's not done from the old paradigm where I'm doing this because this is, people want to see faces on the post. People want to see reels. People want to see, I'm not doing it because this is what makes the account successful today. I'm doing it because it's a prayer and it feels good for me. And that paradigm shift has been major, because it's what it also has done is open the door for me to create my living community outside of Instagram. That can be one portal that people can find me and find about the events that I'm going or the things that I'm doing. But really, this whole paradigm shift has allowed me to allow my prayers to go onto media, allow myself to receive the support of beautiful people around the world sharing messages of hope and unity and togetherness and love. And then not really worry so much about the followers or what happens with it. It's just a portal.
That's so well said. And I think we have to reiterate that there are so many rules out there for life in general, but boy, oh boy, social media has all of these rules and regulations. And for those of us that are creative, spiritual, we're on an ascension journey, that's something that isn't in alignment for us really in any capacity of our lives. And here, I mean, let's just speak into space. We got to be so gentle with ourselves. Here we are trying to engage with the density of dense, right? With the 3D in a social media capacity. And we're trying to do it. And we're trying to do it right with all these rules and regulations. And yet we are on this growth edge all the time. So it makes sense that for a lot of us, it doesn't make sense. Like none of the shoulds make sense. And that's one thing that I feel like I have really butted up against too, that like, it doesn't make sense. I don't want to do it that way because I'm told that's the way that I have to do it. I've never lived my life like that before, and so why am I falling prey to that sort of control here in this realm? And perhaps it's because this social media as medicine is here to teach us so much about ourselves.
Yeah, that's really what it had to be for me too, is if I was engaging with this scalper that's taking my account. I'm going back and forth. I've got a friend that's just like, all right, we're going to give him money. And then I've got friends reaching out to me. He's asked for money. I've given him money. And I'm like, holy crap. I have friends that are thinking this is me, that want to support me. And I was like, holy crap, people are thinking that I'm going to give them an oracle reading. So you're giving this money to these people and they think that they're going to support me in whatever I'm asking, this person is asking for, and they want to support. And I was like, holy crap. And that was just a realization of, my voice is powerful. People want to hear what I have to say. So let me be really intentional about what I have to say, because now I just have got this universal nudge that people are listening and like, holy crap, what do I have to say that's important for people to listen to? And that had me go into my shadow work of what's coming up, what am I dealing with, what am I working through? Because if I'm going to share a message, I'm going to share it from a place that from a wisdom place rather than from a wound place. So the whole journey of having my account stolen was a shadow work journey for me to say, why am I attached to this identity or this persona that I've created? Why am I attached to trying to get this back? I've leveled up so much that my personality isn't even that account anymore. And even that was another realization of, wow, check out that growth point, that now I can release that account and say, it's not even me.
Yeah. It's that, like that I'm going to send love to these past versions of me. I'm no longer her. Well, I mean, I think that's a big thing that we can share about right now is you had mentioned before, whatever intentional practice you have around just living your life, we can apply that to our social media offerings. So you'd mentioned lighting a candle. What are some of the other practices that you have just to put that prayerful intention into what you're sharing?
I love to share music. I love to share music is a program. I love to share a program that I think is a healthy program. I love to share frequencies and beats. Binaural beats might be in the background of a voice. So I love to be intentional about the vibration that I'm sending out. So maybe people listen to the words, or maybe people just listen to the frequency. But it's very intentional what I do, that I'm trying to deliver either a moment of peace, a moment of clarity, a moment of a frequency. I'm just trying to deliver something in the moment that's true. And I think that in my world, I resonate with truth. And when I can feel truth, I can hear truth. There's an activation that happens that allows a softening. My body just relaxes a little bit more instead of just the mindless, scrolling. I find a truth and my body just softens into that truth. And there's a part that just wants to linger there for a second. So if I can deliver that experience for somebody else, that's a pattern interrupt. And that feels like a part of my dharma, just to interrupt the flow for a second. I interrupt this crazy media to give you a little bit of medicine or just a little sprinkle of love.
That's so beautiful, Sheena. I love just in my own imagination creating like the animation that goes with what you said, because I can just see it. I can see how beautifully powerful it is what you do. I think for me, as I am consistently looking to rebirth and recultivate, recurate this relationship that I have to myself and to social media and to my offerings, is that I sit in the morning when I make these posts or before I hop on and do a reel. And for me, it's very important for me to keep sharing the wisdom of how we are connected to the natural world, especially through our biology and our psychology as women. And so I just envision my moon sisterhood, and that's not my term. Miranda Gray wrote about that in her book, Red Moon, but it's been so powerful for me thinking about every woman throughout all time and space who's ever bled and who's ever birthed. I just imagine this golden web connecting my heart to theirs. And I just send out what I'm going to post before I hit post or as I'm hitting post. And just like what you so wisely shared, if that touches one person's heart, if that gives one sister a moment to pause and love herself, understand herself, accept herself, forgive herself, compassionately witness herself, then that has to be enough. It really has to be enough, because it is enough. So I'm just going to pause for a second, and anybody who's listening, like, put your hand on your heart and really see, what have Sheena and I shared today that resonates? What feels like a fit? What doesn't? Remember, we're not the experts of you being you. Only you are. We just offer this as an opportunity to connect even deeper to yourself, to us, to the web of oneness, and take what works, leave what doesn't. Our hope, our prayer is that the love that we're sharing via this podcast is that you feel a little bit more seen, a little bit more known, a little bit more understood, a little bit more respected, a little bit more validated, a little bit more connected, because we're all doing the best we can. So social media as medicine, softening into the potential. You said surrender experiment, of just, do you want to describe again what you mean exactly by those two words, surrender experiment?
So for me, the surrender experiment is all about just going through what I'm intuitively led to do. Never mind what my logical brain thinks makes sense. And so, one of the intuitive hits that I had after releasing that old account was the only accounts that I follow are creators. They're creators, they're artists, they're people that are awake and spreading good messages. I find that, with this media, one thing that's so important to recognize is we are creators. So to be able to create content puts us in the creator consciousness. We can actually stay in creator consciousness much longer than we may not have by using media. When we engage with artists, designers, people that are living their life in these ways that we're like so inspired by, so my surrender is not looking at growing my social media as a business, but as a medicine cabinet of who is in there that is inspiring me, who is showing me love, who is filling my soul cup. So I surrender to just doing what my body feels attuned to, what feels good, rather than what all these content creators or social media ambassadors are trying to educate people to do on how to grow their follower. I don't have a lot of followers, and that's okay, because I know that what I share is authentic. I know that whoever needs to see those messages will receive them. But I surrender into the moment. I surrender into what my heart needs. I surrender into the message that's intuitively coming through for me to share, regardless of how silly it seems, or, or if it just, might get lost in the ethers. That's okay, because I'm still riding the wave of creator consciousness by putting that content out. And that it's in itself is a much healthier place than being in the lack vibration around media, comparing myself, surviving in this world. This is a thriving by just creating beautiful content and following people that inspire that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that kind of leads into our next piece, is that how are you shining and how are you dimming your light via your offerings? Are you seeking to conform through a comparison, competition, vibration? Are you looking to really expand through, like what Sheena has so courageously shared, really distilled authenticity? Not that you don't care, you care so much, that you are only going to put out what feels so meaningful and in alignment with you at any given time. Not following anybody else's like proscripted pro forma of the shoulds.
Yeah.
And that to me is really, really shining. So I want to just throw this into the mix. Remember, we've zipped up our auric field, so I'm going to tell a little personal story. I was just made aware of just some energy that I kind of suspected was there, but didn't let myself really open my eyes to. I was made aware of just some negative receptivity around some people that are very near and dear to me about my social media offerings. And that was kind of presented to me from the perspective of, well, who does she think she is? Like, that's the energy that was, that is pervasive for people in my close inner sanctum who've been receiving some of my offerings. And I let it hurt. I really let it hurt, because boy, it does hurt, that my human heart, I let my human heart really hurt. However, I also have to be very grateful for it, because it helped me see that there are still places where I'm really dimming my light for fear of shining too brightly. And it's that sort of same, who does she think she is vibration that I tell myself, in the darkest of moments. And when that happens, I can just feel myself constrict, like pull in, and almost like, cover my soft belly to protect the chalice, to protect my soul. And so what the gift of that realization has given me is that I get to be, like you, Sheena, even more aligned with what I'm putting out there. And the more that alignment comes online, the less that fear or self-punishment or self-criticism or self-doubt can be present. So for those of you out there that feel like you don't maybe have the support that you would like, for those of you who feel like you're going to be judged, I would just say that find that sanctuary within your own heart. And just like Sheena has so brilliantly expressed, really get clear on your medicine. What are you sharing? And you do not have to be a doctor or a therapist or some kind of spiritual leader. You're human. You've got experience being human. We are really spreading light and love. So get really clear on how you want to do that. And honey, shine, 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 shine. Hug the places of you that consistently want to tell you to dim your light to stay safe. And let that higher self come online to remind you that you create your own sanctuary, and you need not one bit of outer validation for that to be your truth. Shine, baby, shine.
Yes.
Anything you want to add to that?
that was really just the biggest thing that I was feeling was, if you find yourself seeking external validation after you put a post, you want to see how many people come back to it, how many people like it, how many people engage with it. Notice it. Notice that there is a part of you that's really looking for external validation. Can you sit with that version of you for a little while? Maybe delete the app for the rest of the day. Maybe just know that what you shared is good enough just the way it is, whether you're the only one that looks at it or not. So I think social media for all of us is such a beautiful reflection to see where are we not validating ourselves and looking for that external validation. How can we show up for ourselves to do that, so that we're not scrolling looking to fill our soul cup, because it's just not going to get filled.
It's not going to happen. No, I think this is a much different medicine.
Yeah.
And it's a medicine that goes both ways. Like we're talking about, we put the medicine out and we receive the medicine back. And that medicine is our own like heightened level of sensitivity and awareness to ourselves while we are simultaneously being so intentional with the medicine that we're putting out there. So if you take anything away from all of this, just, let yourself sink into yourself. Let yourself just be yourself and trust in the divine intuition that's coming in to be shared in whatever way that you feel called to share it. And I think the last thing to just maybe touch on is the joy that we get from social media. Talk about that, Sheena, because you had some really great things to say about how joy just like comes out of your social media engagement.
Yeah, I mean, literally by being really discerning with who I'm following, who I'm sharing with, I have allowed my feed to be really inspiring and really playful. And so it's just a fun practice now at this point. If I do go onto social media and I'm scrolling, is I have a whole new group of people to be inspired by than I did in my previous account. It's not the people that I grew up with. It's not the people that I'm familiar with. It's not the people that I am friends with. It's the people that bring me joy that are in my account, and they're intentionally in there because there are moments that life is really hard and we have to reach out to our community and we have to get little love nuggets from our community or nature or the moon or whatever. And when you can be intentional about the people that you're following on social media, you can get those little bursts of joy and play and permission to play from, the people that you're following. So, I'm not like, we're all artists, we're all creators, we're all artists. But my Instagram feed may make you think that I'm like very much into art, but really it's just, I just want some playfulness. I want some creation in there. And so I don't need to go on to Instagram to learn everything. I just want to be inspired. And so that's been a game changer of just being really intentional about following accounts that are just sprinkling little bits of joy in there for me.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that sort of defragments where we started with social media as a sickness. Zip up your field before you scroll.
Yeah.
Align and attune.
Yeah.
Set your intentions for the greatest and highest good and greatest and highest choice, so that the stuff that isn't in alignment for you stays where it needs to stay. And the stuff that is in alignment for you gets invited in through your sovereign free will, right? It doesn't just, you don't catch it. It's not contagious. You're actively choosing it. But yeah, how lucky are we that we live in this time that something has been created for us to stay in touch, for us to create a family that is worldwide.
Yeah. That is something that we've never had access to before, that our technology can reach every corner of our planet. That means vibration and frequency of our prayer is reaching every corner of the planet. So in places like Iran, when they don't even have access to internet right now, they are still getting the vibrational read of that prayer that was sent to them. That's something we've never had access to.
I agree.
And instead of using it to compare and compete, let's use it to love and heal, because that's really the legacy that media can leave behind, I feel.
I agree. And we are so blessed that we get to love ourselves even more through this platform, that we get to love each other even more, and that we just get to consistently and intentionally raise the vibration of love for our entire Earth family. And who knows? I would say our entire living family throughout
Yeah.
all time and space.
Totally.
I really
Yeah.
don't think we're limited to the 3D perspective
Mm-mm.
of, where our intentions and our frequencies can reach. So, well, everybody, thank you so much for listening to this. Sheena and I are going to get together again, and our second podcast is going to be Don't Look Up to Me.
I am not your guru.
I am not your guru. We're going to be talking about that, sort of releasing that guru complex that I think has hurt humanity so deeply. And that's come to us from many different avenues. And we can really step into a place of, I would say, unconditional inner knowing, where we can release that and become our own best counsel always. So that will be our second offering. Well, Sheena, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was so nice.
I know. Let us know what you think about this. The podcast will be up on Anchor. This video will be up on YouTube, and I'll make sure to tag Sheena and everything that I post. And hopefully, if you find what we shared informative, uplifting, inspiring, why don't you share it? Let's let this energetic vibration be transitive. Let's pay the good stuff forward. All right. So once again, let's connect into our hearts. Bring that energy up to our ajna. Combining that emerald indigo ray, bringing it all the way up again into the soul light, creating that golden braid of platinum white, emerald, and indigo, connecting body, mind, and spirit. And now just expanding to connect to source and center, bringing that energy intentionally into the chalice once again, connecting to the top and bottom of the heart center, and setting these intentions for the greatest and highest good to come forward, and the greatest and highest choice for every living thing throughout all time and all space. Namaste, brothers and sisters. Mwah.
Namaste.
Namaste, sweetheart.
Namaste.
Mwah. Love you.
Love you.
Okay.